Narcissists oftentimes will stalk people on social media. Let's say you just had a breakup, you just had a time where either they discarded you or you discarded them, and you've blocked them or whatever it might be. They'll still find ways, they'll try to stalk you. Whether that's just because of obsession, whether that's just because of control, there's a lot of different reasons why, and some that just don't make sense at all. But narcissists typically will like to obsess and stalk people. Now, some people are like, oh, they're stalking me, or oh, they're trying to be on my social media or contact me or all these things because they actually love me, because they actually care about me. No, that's not the case. So typically when they're on there and you think like, oh, like I blocked them, or oh, they don't follow me anymore, what is going on? Typically when a narcissist gets blocked, one of the things that frustrates them is not the fact that they lost a good person. It's not the fact that they lost the love of their life. It's not the fact that they missed that person. When it comes down to it, the narcissist typically is frustrated and is going to rage, is going to get upset, or is going to get jealous, whatever it might be, for the sole reason that they can't control you anymore. This is typically a lot of times what happens with narcissists, is because when you block them, they get to the place that they realize they don't have any power, they don't have any control, and they're going to try to do whatever they can to get back to that. They want to get back to that state where they had influence, power, control over your life. So as a result, they're going to start emailing you. They're going to start texting you. They're going to start messaging you through a third party. They're going to start texting you on a different number. They're going to start to contact you through friends and family, being like, hey, is this person okay? Because I haven't heard from them. They'll do anything to be able to reestablish contact. And a lot of times that can be really frustrating, because all of a sudden you're getting phone calls from random numbers. You're getting family members being like, hey, have you heard from, all this kind of stuff, because they will literally try to do anything they can to be able to recontact you. A lot of times this is a Hoover, where they're trying to get back into your life to a place of control. Sometimes it's a reverse Hoover, where they're still on your social media. You still see them either liking or following your post, but they're not commenting. They're not reaching out. They're not saying anything, because they want to wait for you to be able to reach out. And after a while, they'll start bugging you, and you'll start thinking like, oh, well, they are liking my post, or oh, they are seeing it. Or you'll be like, why are you still watching my channel, or whatever it might be. And you contact them just to ask a question. They're like, gotcha. Because at that moment, they know they can start a conversation. At that moment, they know they can slip their way back in, and they will very, very easily, because you have to remember, they're masters at communicating. They're masters at manipulating and gaslighting people. So you have to be really careful about that. Whenever you do block, a lot of times they rage and they obsess and they try to control, because that is the main thing that they want. That is the main thing that they miss. If you guys don't know who I am by now, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a narcissist in recovery, and I'm working to bring awareness on this platform, on TikTok, on Instagram, all over the place, just to let people know what narcissism is, like how it damages people's lives, how it destroys families, relationships, love, like everything, how it really wreaks havoc in people's lives. So I try to bring awareness, and then I try to work with people. I try to work with people who have identified or have come to realize that they have either narcissistic tendencies, or they say, hey, I'm a narcissist. And I'm like, hey, let's talk. Like, let's get through where we stop lying. Let's get you into therapy, and let's work on finding a way to get to healing and growth and change. And that's what I'm about. That's what I'm trying to figure out, and help people figure that out on their way and on their path forward. I also work with people who have suffered from narcissistic abuse, because I'm able a lot of times to give them clarity, to answer questions, to give them at least some type of closure of knowing sometimes the thought process, or like what's going on. And then I'm also working with people to help them get out of a trauma bond, help them get out of the place where they're done with the relationship, they're done with that interaction with that person, and they know it's toxic. They know, like, I hate this person because of how they messed me up, but they still want to go back. And that can be some of the hardest things to be able to break and be able to work through. And so that's what I've dedicated some of my channel to be able to work with those people, either with narcissism or narcissistic abuse, to be able to help them find healing and grow and be able to change into the best version of themselves they could possibly be. So, like I've been saying, like, narcissists oftentimes will obsess over social media. They'll try to hoover you back. They'll try to do a reverse hoover. They'll try to rage, like all this type of stuff. And it's all just a game to be able to get you back. Now, sometimes they might be on social media and not contacting you, and it's not a hoover. It's not a reverse hoover. All it is they just want to mess with you. Like they'll put up a post that you know, that post is probably directed to me. Or they'll put up something that you realize, if I read that way, it's probably talking about our relationship. They'll do that just to mess with you. They'll do that to mess with your mind. They'll do that to mess with you to the point that it becomes a reverse Hoover, where you end up contacting them, being like, why do you keep saying all this stuff? I know you're talking about me. Boom, they got you. Because then they can start a conversation. That's why my counsel a lot of times is, if you have a narcissist in your life and they're not willing to be honest, they're not willing to change, not willing to take accountability or responsibility for their actions, leave and block them. Block them, block them, block them. I can't say it so many times because literally I'll say it to a person. I'll be like, block them. And then like 2 weeks later, they'll be like, oh yeah, I saw on their social media. I'm like, why? You should have blocked them the first time. You need to block them because they will find ways to manipulate. They will find ways to get back in your life. You need to cut that. You don't need that person in your life. You don't need that toxicity. You don't need the flying monkeys, the people that they've recruited that are your friends, that are like reporting back to them. You don't need those people in your life. And you don't have to justify it to anybody that you need those people. So block them. You will find more growth, more healing when you actually block a toxic person and you're able to get to the place of saying, hey, I'm okay that I don't have a clue of what's going on, because that gives me peace. And that lets me get to a place of healing and internalization that I'm able to actually work on myself and focus on how I can grow and how I can change to be a better person. So once again, block them, okay? Block them, go no contact. That is one of the best ways to deal with a narcissist. Now, I would put a preference in here, like be careful. Like if you deal with a narcissist that's very violent or rages excessively, like be careful. Like if you're going to go the route of blocking them, which you probably should, make sure that you have a plan in place, whether it's a place to go, whether it's people to have around, whether it's a protective order that you got to put out, like whatever it might be, you need to make sure that you're careful and that you're protecting yourself at all costs. So once again, please be careful in dealing with narcissists. Block them. Like when you leave, no contact. They will try to follow you a lot of times. Sometimes they won't try to follow you to get you to follow them. They will try almost every manipulation in the book. Be safe, stay no contact, block them, ghost them, continue to work on yourself and grow.